Outer space. An infinite vacuum that extends beyond Earth and human imagination. Cosmos that is so vast and expansive that it has no physical frontiers. A source of inexhaustible mystery.
All engines running. Launch commit. Liftoff. We have liftoff.
Visibility is not quite as good as it is in the conventional, more conventional. It's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
First stage ignited.
Of these satellites on board an Indian launch vehicle is testimony to the commercial competitiveness of the Indian space industry.
Now, India woke up to some disheartening news this morning as the historic launch of Chandrayaan 2, India's second moonshot, had to be deferred. The news created commotion at the Satish Dhawan Space Centre in Sriharikota. The mission, which was slated for kicking off early this morning, had to be suspended less than an hour before launch, all because of a technical snag. India's premier space organisation called it a move of abundant caution, while addressing the media right after the launch was called off.
India will have to wait for its second lunar tryst. As the nation waited for the Chandrayaan 2 liftoff, the countdown clock froze at T-minus 56 minutes and 24 seconds, signalling ISRO deferring the mega moon odyssey, owing to a last-hour technical glitch. The space agency did not want to take any chance with its 1,000 crore mission. The technical snag discovered during fueling the rocket with cryogenic fuel could have jeopardized the ambitious project.
If they have to dump the fuel and reload it once again, that will mean scrubbing the entire process. That will take several weeks to do that, and that means a postponement of that time. They'll again have to find a proper slot where they can send the spacecraft. It's also very precisely timed, its orbital path and everything else. So they'll have to rework those dates and come back with a fresh date.
The large crowd, including students, which had assembled to witness the historic launch, was disappointed, but thankful that ISRO avoided a potential disaster.
It's okay if they checked it before only. If not, it may have a fail in the launching thing.
अगर ये launch space में जाकर भी अब खराब हो गया तो अपने बहुत सारा government का money loss होता था.
Scientific community hailed ISRO, saying it took the right step.
And naturally, once you know that there is some anomaly, we cannot take a risk of going ahead with the launch. It would have resulted in a catastrophe in flight. So it's the right decision taken by the ISRO, and it proves that our methodology for detecting such anomalies, etc., has worked well.
It could be a minor problem. I mean, it can't be a major problem. So this could take perhaps about a week's time by the time you would finish your launch window. So maybe it could slip by about 3 weeks to 4 weeks.
Better safe than sorry is the approach that ISRO has taken, with an assurance that it is only a matter of time before Chandrayaan 2 does India proud. Bureau Report, India Today.
As India awaits its most ambitious lunar mission Chandrayaan 2, ISRO is working around the clock to make it an astounding success. It is the first Indian expedition to attempt a soft landing on the lunar surface with homegrown technology, and will put India in the league of lunar pioneers, the US, Russia and China.
There is tremendous excitement in the air. Chandrayaan 2. Chandrayaan 2 is India's second lunar exploration mission. Now, this landmark mission by the Indian Space Research Organization is being viewed as a demonstration of India's deep space exploration technologies and to simulate the advancement of more innovative solutions. So this is an in-house mission. Chandrayaan 2 is a made-in-India project. Every bit of technology is Indian. India's second mission to the moon is rather unique and the world is looking forward to this. What's the aim? The aim is to put the robotic arm, the Pragyan, on the moon's surface. Soft landing, that's the effort. This will take about 50 days. It's expected to take about 50 days to land on the moon. That's not all. This Pragyan rover then will study the moon's surface. What all will Pragyan study? Well, the chemical composition of the moon's surface, the minerals on moon. And that's not all. Is there water? Are there water molecules on the moon? What's the rock formation like? These are things that Pragyan is expected to study. The orbiter will continue on its mission for a duration of about a year, 365 days plus. The flight of Chandrayaan 2 is unique in many ways. There are many firsts. So let's begin with the first one, Bahubali. That's right, the largest, the heaviest rocket built by Indian Space Research Organization, the GSLV Mark III. This is the heaviest rocket. This will carry Chandrayaan 2. That's point one. Point two, this space mission will carry a soft landing on the moon. The first Chandrayaan mission, well, it orbited the moon. This time you're not only landing, it's a soft landing and on the unexplored regions of the moon, the lunar south pole. Then, this is the first Indian mission to explore the lunar terrain using homegrown technology. That's right, it's made in India. This entire technology is made in India. Also, what makes this unique, this mission is led by two women directors, and that is what makes this mission so absolutely wonderful. The two project directors are M. Vanita and Ritu Karidal. That's not all. India, of course, will be the fourth country in the world which will carry out this soft landing on the lunar surface. Russia has done it, the United States has done it, China has done it, India will do it. In India, everyone says how expensive is the mission, and this is something that even the Prime Minister has talked about. How inexpensive is India's mission to the moon? So let's now give you some statistics. Chandrayaan 2 costs less than some Hollywood films. That's a fact. That's a fact that's been made. The moon mission costs less than half of what Avengers Endgame cost and much less than Interstellar. What does this mean in actual numbers? Let me now give you numbers. The total cost of the project is 1,000 crore. Each aspect of this project is less than 1,000 crore. What does this mean? Well, the spacecraft, that's been developed at a cost of about 603 crore. The launcher, the GSLV Mark III, Bahubali, that's been developed at the cost of 375 crore rupees. So the rover, the launcher and the spacecraft, all in less than 1,000 crore.
Now, the resounding success of debut lunar mission Chandrayaan put India on the global map for lunar expeditions. The Chandrayaan-1 spacecraft made more than 3,400 orbits around the moon and was operational for 312 days until August 29, 2009.
All engines running. Launch commit. Liftoff. We have liftoff.
On July 20th, 1969, Apollo 11 landed on moon and Neil Armstrong took one small step which was coined as a giant leap for mankind in the pages of history.
Tranquility Base here. The Eagle has landed. That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
50 years later, ISRO will attempt its own giant leap, beginning with the Chandrayaan 2 unmanned mission to the moon. A stepping stone to the launch of Gaganyaan, a manned mission to the moon by the year 2021. With Chandrayaan 2, India will be attempting a controlled landing on the moon. The mission, if successful, would make India only the fourth country after the United States, Russia and China to perform a soft landing on Earth's satellite by putting a rover on it. China had successfully landed its lunar rover as recently as in January 2019.
Liftoff will start in T-minus 10 seconds. 10, 9...
The geosynchronous satellite launch vehicle Mark III with the Chandrayaan 2 orbiter lander and the rover aboard will soar into the sky. The launch will take place from Sriharikota, a barrier island off the Bay of Bengal in Andhra Pradesh, from the same place that a little over a decade ago, India had sent its first spacecraft to the moon. But landing a rover in a controlled descent makes Chandrayaan 2 the most ambitious mission ever undertaken by ISRO.
From the 30 kilometer, the braking of speed to landing, that will take about 15 minutes. And this 15 minutes is going to be the most terrifying moment for all of us. Not only people from ISRO, it is for the entire Indian. It is going to be the terrifying moment because this 15 minutes flight is the flight ISRO has never undertaken such type of complex flight.
Chandrayaan 2 is a 3-in-1 mission of ISRO.
Chandrayaan 2 will have 3 modules. The orbiter
are my other 2 family members, a lander, Vikram.
The lander named Vikram, and a rover called Pragyan. The lunar landing is expected around 6th or 7th of September on the unexplored south polar region of the moon. The surface of the moon, as grey and dull as it looks, hides many untold secrets of space, like the possibility of the presence of water on the dark side, or that part of the moon that is never seen from the Earth. Another exciting possibility is of finding clues to how the solar system was formed in the deep dark craters of the moon. The advantage India has internationally in launching such a bold mission is that India does it at a fraction of the cost that other countries need to pull something of this magnitude. India's second mission to demystify the moon is projected to cost around 1,000 crore rupees, and the cost of building a GSLV Mark III is around 375 crores.
Now, the Indian National Committee for Space Research, or INCOSPAR, started in a nondescript small fishing village on the outskirts of Thiruvananthapuram in Kerala called Thumba. Now, with the effort of space pioneers like Vikram Sarabhai, INCOSPAR went on to become ISRO, India's premier space agency. Here's a look at independent India's space journey.
We have ignition.
India's first shot at the moon was in October 2008, when ISRO put the Chandrayaan 1 spacecraft into the circular orbit above the moon at an altitude of 100 kilometers. A month later, a probe separated from the Chandrayaan orbiter and crashed into the lunar surface along a controlled and planned trajectory. Chandrayaan took off from the Satish Dhawan Space Center, and it continued to operate for nearly a year till August 2009. The project was announced by former Prime Minister Atal Bihari Vajpayee as part of his Independence Day speech in 2003. It took the premier space research organization of the country 5 years to fulfill the dream. In 2008, India with Chandrayaan 1 proved that going to space need not be an unaffordable affair. Chandrayaan 1 mission paved the way to success by discovering water molecules on the lunar surface. India is banking on that initial success to propel its next generation space push, to reach where no one has gone before, to parts of the moon which still has surprises to throw up.
Chandrayaan 2 costs less than half of the budget of a Hollywood film like Avengers Endgame, while Mangalyaan satellite cost less than the sci-fi film Gravity. With multiple world-class missions in ISRO's kitty, India surely looks poised to be a space power to reckon with.
Outer space is the challenge for the country's space program. With successful missions already boosting ISRO's confidence, there are ambitious projects in the pipeline, like Gaganyaan 1, the space station that India wants to send up. India is also building a probe that will study the sun. In the 2019 Union Budget, India's space outlay got a 15% boost.
Public sector enterprise, namely New Space India Limited, NSIL, has been incorporated as a new commercial arm of the Department of Space to tap the benefits of the research and development carried out by ISRO.
The NSIL will act in tandem with the existing commercial arm of ISRO, Antrix Corporation. The announcement comes at a time when ISRO is eyeing exploration of other planets and aiming to put up its own 20-ton space station in orbit by the year of 2030.
We are thinking that our station will be carrying about 20 ton. 20 ton will be the mass of the station, and it may be that people can live there for 15-20 days. Then subsequently, not only the space station we are going to stop it, we are going to join the international community for going to moon.
In 1958, it was Soviet Union's Luna 2 mission which sent the first human-made object to reach the surface of moon. 10 years later, United States Apollo 11 made history with the first human to walk the moon. India too wants to put a man on the moon, and soon.
आजादी का 75 साल मनाएंगे तब तक मां भारत का कोई संतान, चाहे बेटा हो या बेटी, कोई भी हो सकता है, वे अंतरिक्ष में जाएंगे.
The 2000 rupees note carries the picture of Chandrayaan, a successful space mission to the fourth planet from the sun.
0 + 1 2 3. Liftoff normal.
Chandrayaan was India's first ever interplanetary mission launched by the Indian Space Research Organisation on November 5, 2013. A PSLV C-25 successfully placed Chandrayaan into Martian orbit on September 24, 2014. Chandrayaan was a big achievement as it gained reputation worldwide for being the least expensive Mars mission ever. And India's then newly elected Prime Minister kept a close watch on the mission. 5 years later, in March 2019, Prime Minister Modi declared India to be a space superpower. The occasion was when India demonstrated the capability of shooting down a satellite in space.
हमारे वैज्ञानिकों ने अंतरिक्ष में, स्पेस में 300 किलोमीटर दूर LEO, लो अर्थ ऑर्बिट में एक लाइव सैटेलाइट को मार गिराया है.
Since the time Narendra Modi took charge as the Prime Minister of the country, his interest in space has been evidently on display right from the beginning. On June 30th, 2014, a month after he became Prime Minister, Narendra Modi went to the Satish Dhawan Space Research Centre in Sriharikota to witness firsthand the launch of a PSLV-23 rocket carrying a payload that also had several international satellites that India was sending up in space.
Our space program is indigenous. We have developed despite international hurdles. Generations of our space scientists have worked to make India a self-reliant space power.
On 15th February 2017, ISRO launched 104 satellites in a single PSLV rocket to create a world record. 4 months later, India crossed another milestone when its heaviest rocket, the geosynchronous satellite launch vehicle Mark III, overcame inertia and shot its way to space to place the GSAT-19 satellite into orbit. With this launch, India gained the capacity to launch 4-ton satellites.
Now, the Indian National Committee for Space Research, or INCOSPA, started in a nondescript small fishing village on the outskirts of Thiruvananthapuram in Kerala called Thumba. With the efforts of space pioneers like Vikram Sarabhai, INCOSPA went on to become ISRO, India's premier space agency. Here's a look back at independent India's space journey.
Modern space research started in India in 1920. But it would be decades before the institutionalized probe into space-related activities would gain nationwide attention. The first milestone in Indian space exploration was the establishment of Indian National Committee for Space Research, or INCOSPAR, by then Prime Minister Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, along with scientist Vikram Sarabhai in 1962.
He thought that we should build this capability because India is a developing country at that time, 1960s, I am talking of early 60s. And obviously, our developmental needs were very different from the United States and the then Soviet Union.
So he sold the idea of satellite development and satellite launching for the purpose of national development.
INCOSPAR launched India's first rocket in 1963 from Tumba. By end of the 60s, INCOSPAR grew to become the Indian Space Research Organization, or the ISRO. From the modern start of launching Aryabhatta, the first Indian satellite using a Russian rocket in 1975, India has come a long way. Aryabhatta provided India with the basis of learning satellite design and technology. As 70s wound up, ISRO was emboldened enough to create the first indigenous satellite vehicle that was launched from Sriharikota range in Andhra Pradesh in 1980.
Launch commit. Liftoff. We have liftoff.
SLV-3 successfully placed the Rohini satellite, or the RS-1, in orbit, making India the sixth member of an exclusive club of spacefaring nations. Over the next few decades, ISRO successfully propelled a number of INSAT satellites into space, making it the largest domestic communication system in the Asia-Pacific region. It was time for an attempt to make manned mission to space. The first Indo-Soviet manned space mission was launched in 1984. Rakesh Sharma and Ravish Malhotra went through rigorous training for almost 2 years in Moscow. Finally, Rakesh Sharma became the first Indian citizen to go into space. He flew aboard in the Soviet rocket Soyuz T-11 as part of a 3-member Soviet-Indian crew. Ravish Malhotra became the second man to back him throughout the mission.
Though the suspension of India's second moon odyssey came as a disappointment, India's best scientists have promised a revised launch date very soon, and all eyes are on India's Mega Moon Mission 2.0. Well, that's all we have on this special edition of In-Depth. News and updates continue on the other side. Do stay with us. Up next is To The Point. Do stay tuned.
Thanks for watching the video. For more such news and updates, please like, share and subscribe to India Today. Also check out our other great videos from our channel. We know you will love to.